All right, time for some picks. Time for some college football picks. Love college football. Can't believe we're already in week 5 of the college football season. I mean, these teams only played 12 regular season games. Years just flying by. 1-1 on my 2 picks last week. I did like Clemson and the points. Won with that one. Thought it was too many points, the 14.5, and it was. Lost with the Michigan Wolverines, +5 against Notre Dame. Couldn't believe I lost that game. Did you see that game? Michigan had every opportunity to win, to cover. Denard Robinson. Now listen, I know he's an exciting player, and in another offense, maybe in Rich Rodriguez's offense, maybe he'd be one of the better players in the Big Ten or a Heisman Trophy candidate like they thought he was going to be. But I guarantee you, in the offense he's in now, I mean, he's a clear misfit, and I don't know if you blame the coaches for not adapting to what they have, or maybe blame the coaches for not having the courage to move Denard Robinson to another position. Whatever it is, I guarantee you, behind closed doors, head coach Brady Hoke, offensive coordinator Al Borges, they're talking to each other, and they're probably excited for when this guy moves on and then get a quarterback in there who more fits their system. He was absolutely brutal last week. As you can tell, I wasn't too happy with him. Did lose me money. Still 4-2 overall on the college football picks this season, so we're doing all right. Got 3 of them for you today. First, I want to get to a couple of games that caught my eye that I'm not having a bet on, but that they're offering markets on BETDAQ. Big Ten game to start. Wisconsin Badgers going out to play the Nebraska Cornhuskers. What do you make of Wisconsin? I mean, this team has been really, really surprisingly bad this year. People thought they were going to be sort of your same old Wisconsin team, a top 10-ish team. Haven't looked anything like that. Surprisingly, they can't run the ball. Not only can they not pass the ball, which for a Wisconsin team, you're not stunned, but they can't run the ball either, producing no offense at all. And they haven't. Their competition hadn't exactly been murderer's row here. I mean, we're talking about Northern Iowa, Utah State, UTEP, really struggled against all these teams. The only quality team they've played, Oregon State, they lost that game, only mustered a touchdown in that game. So going on the road to Nebraska this week, the Cornhuskers, an 11.5-point favorite in Vegas. Handicap market not yet released on BETDAQ. Nebraska can be had at 121 on the money line market on BETDAQ. Wisconsin at 4.8. I don't know if it's 4.8 or 480. The European lines, I'm not quite fluent with them. Don't really know how, the lingo, but 4.8 for Wisconsin on the money line in that game. 11.5, as I said, the handicap out in Vegas. Do expect a handicap market on this game as it draws closer here in the next few hours. Nebraska's a team that on offense, they've got a lot of pieces. Taylor Martinez, certainly their quarterback. He can make it happen, especially on the ground, and really like Rex Burkhead, the running back. So Nebraska can really run the ball, but Taylor Martinez has struggled throughout his career passing the ball. I know that he's made some strides this year, has looked a little better. They lost a disappointing game to UCLA, gave up 36 points to UCLA on the road in that game. Something tells me that Wisconsin is going to keep this one closer than most people think. I mean, the line here, as I said, is Nebraska minus 11.5 out in Vegas. The public has been on Nebraska all week out in Vegas. Most people seem to expect a blowout here. And it's not surprising based on what we've seen out of Wisconsin. But, Wisconsin hadn't played terrible defense this year. I say that, and they gave up some points to UTEP last week. But they've been okay on defense, and Nebraska, I still believe, is one-dimensional on offense. So if Wisconsin can limit that running game, they're going to be able to limit the Cornhuskers. And 11.5 points here feels like a lot. I mean, Wisconsin does run the ball. They run it to their detriment sometimes. Haven't been able to run it this year. But, a lot of times Wisconsin in these Big Ten games, we see low-scoring, close games. So 11.5 feels like a lot of points here. However, I'm just not confident enough in Wisconsin based on what I've seen this year, obviously, to actually back the Badgers in this game. I just have a suspicion they might keep it close. Another game that, it's not that I have a lean one way or the other, but Texas at Oklahoma State. Now, in Vegas, this game opened at Oklahoma State minus 5.5, but as word has come out throughout the course of the week that Oklahoma State quarterback Wes Lunt will probably not play in this game, officially listed as doubtful. This line has moved all the way from Oklahoma State minus 5.5 to Texas minus 2.5. Now on BETDAQ in the money line market, Texas can be had at 175 right now. Oklahoma State at 217. This game is in Oklahoma State. Coming into the season, most people thought that Oklahoma State, despite losing, Brandon Whedon, Justin Blackmon to the NFL, most people thought they were going to be a better team than Texas. However, this Oklahoma State defense looked terrible against Arizona in Week 2, gave up 59 points. Don't know if you saw that game. And really that generated a lot of excitement about Arizona. And since then, I'm not sure that excitement about Arizona is well-founded. I think that might just be how bad this Oklahoma State defense is. And Texas has been better offensively than many people, me included, thought they were going to be this year. Did you see him hang 66 on Ole Miss the other week? I mean, I know Ole Miss is a bottom feeder in the SEC, is going to be this year, undermanned on defense, but still 66 points on the road in that game. Now, they did give up 31 to the Rebels, and Ole Miss is no offensive juggernaut. So Oklahoma State, even though they're without Westlawn, I mean, they've already scored over 60 twice this year. Scored 84 against Savannah State. I know, it's Savannah State. Big step up in competition. Tell you the truth, I'm a little puzzled that Texas is only favored by 2.5 right here in this spot with Oklahoma State quarterback Wes Luntz doubtful. This would seem to me like Texas should be favored by more like 4.5. I know they're on the road. I know a lot of people has big questions about this Texas team still after they've struggled so much the last couple of years, but they look a lot better to me. David Ash has settled in as a starting quarterback there. He's really made some plays. I mean, I guess I watched that Ole Miss game, watched the whole game, so maybe I'm brainwashed some. I saw this team score 66 points, and they're playing a defense this week that allowed 59 to Arizona. So to me, especially with Oklahoma State hampered on offense, Texas minus 2.5 is tempting. It's just the fact that they're only favored by 2.5 sort of scares me off of the game. I think, is there something I don't know here? I can't name the Oklahoma State backup QB, which is another reason why maybe I feel like I don't know enough about the game to get involved here. So staying away, but a little puzzled that Texas only a 2.5 point favorite in that game. Couple of games now I'm not staying away from. And when I say 2.5 point favorite, I'm talking about in Vegas, and more importantly for me, on my casino boat, because I can't legally use a beautiful site like BETDAQ. I have to board a small, cramped casino boat, go out into international waters to place these bets. Texas minus 2.5 was the line I saw on the casino boat. It's the line in most places out in Vegas. And the line, the handicap line when it comes out on BETDAQ, will be somewhere in that neighborhood. Now, a couple games I do like I'm going to get involved in here. Michigan State at home playing Ohio State. The line I got, the line out in Vegas, Michigan State minus 2.5, is the line most places in Vegas. Moved to 3 some places. On BETDAQ right now, money line market, 1.7. Don't know if it's 1.7 or 170. Again, the European lingo, not familiar with yet. But 1.7, Michigan State on the money line. They're the home team. Ohio State, of course, 226 on the money line for the Buckeyes. I do like Michigan State in this game. Now, I don't expect to see a lot of offense in this game. And I'm not sure if BETDAQ's going to release a totals market for this game. 42 is what it was on my little casino boat. I lean towards the under if it's around 42. These two teams, and it's not that, Ohio State in particular has not been great on defense. I am impressed with the Michigan State defense. These two teams can run the ball, are extremely one-dimensional on offense. Both these teams really struggle passing the ball. And really, it's the defenses here. I do believe Michigan State has a better defense, and they're going to be able to really limit and make that Ohio State offense one-dimensional, even more one-dimensional than it already is. And Braxton Miller is a really good player. Not at all surprised to see him thriving in Urban Meyer's offense, which really necessitates a running quarterback. We've seen that offense work brilliantly with running quarterbacks like Alex Smith, Tim Tebow, and then we've seen, when guys like Chris Leak, John Brantley have been in there with this offense, guys who aren't as much of a running threat, hasn't worked quite as well. Braxton Miller fits this offense well, but I think the Michigan State defense is going to be able to really force him to make plays with his legs, and I expect a couple of interceptions, a couple of turnovers from Braxton Miller, and really feel like the Spartans here at home, coming off a disappointing performance against Notre Dame. I mean, Michigan State, any way you slice it, the players have to be devastated by that performance on national television. They were embarrassed by the Irish, really. Notre Dame dominating that game in every phase. And even though Michigan State is not very good on offense, very limited, can't pass the ball much themselves, I do think they're better than they showed against Notre Dame, and I expect their running back Le'Veon Bell to respond with a big performance here against an Ohio State defense that has been unimpressive. The Buckeyes in general have been unimpressive this season. I mean, 1-3 against a number. They've struggled in their last 3 games against seemingly less talented teams. So I do think they're in a bad spot on the road this week. Lean towards Michigan State again. 1.7, 170 on the money line on BETDAQ. I have Michigan State at minus 2.5. Another game I like that they're offering here on BETDAQ, Louisiana Tech going on the road to play the Virginia Cavaliers. Now, surprisingly to a lot of people, Louisiana Tech is a favorite in this game. A 3-point favorite. I got this line at minus 3 out on the casino boat. On BETDAQ right now, the money line market, Louisiana Tech 1.6, I guess maybe 160. Virginia 248. Virginia, of course, a team from a power conference, the ACC. Virginia was a bowl team last year. So a lot of people surprised to see a non-BCS school like Louisiana Tech. Most people can't name two guys on Louisiana Tech's roster. A lot of people surprised to see that team as a road favorite against an ACC team like Virginia. I mean, let's face it. Most guys on Louisiana Tech's team, if they would have been offered scholarships to Virginia out of high school, they would probably not be playing for Louisiana Tech right now. And that's a credit to Louisiana Tech coach Sonny Dykes and what he has done. Now, this guy is a Mike Leach disciple, much like Dana Holgorsen, the coach at West Virginia, much like what Kevin Sumlin and Cliff Kingsbury are doing now at Texas A&M. They were at Houston. We've seen this offense spread through college football, and it is fun to watch, and they pile up yardage and points. And these teams who run this offense, because the way it is, they pass the ball so much. They really pass to set up the run. So they don't know how to run out the clock. When a team like Louisiana Tech or Virginia with Dana Holgorsen, a Mike Leach team, a Kevin Sumlin, Cliff Kingsbury team, when they get a big lead in the second half, there is no run the ball to run out the clock. They just keep running their offense. Now, they might put backups in there, but they keep running their offense, and some defenses just cannot stop this. And so as a result, we see incredible numbers. These teams, incredible teams to bet on, incredible teams against the number. Louisiana Tech, for example, under Sonny Dykes last season, 11-1 against the spread. 11-1. This season, through 3 games, I guess the surprise is they haven't covered in one game. They were a 21-point favorite over Rice, only won that game by 19. But in the 3 games Louisiana Tech has played this year, they've covered the other 2 games. They have scored 56, 56, and 52 points. And unlike some of these other teams, they're not playing, Southwest Missouri State. 2 of these 3 games have been against Houston and Illinois. Illinois, a team from the Big Ten. Now, I know Houston and Illinois, neither one of those teams plays great defense. Still, Louisiana Tech over 50 in every game this year. Virginia, 2 weeks ago, gave up 56 to Georgia Tech. Virginia has been blown out in their last 2 games by Georgia Tech and TCU. I do like Louisiana Tech in this game on the road, laying 3 points. Again, laying 3 points, what I got it at. Handicap market is going to be released in the next few hours on BETDAQ for this game. Right now, Louisiana Tech can be had 1.6 or 160 on the money line. And, maybe I'm being a little too ambitious here. I know Virginia Tech probably has more future NFL players than Louisiana Tech. There's probably a couple on Virginia's roster. Excuse me. We were talking about Virginia, not Virginia Tech. Significant difference. And I'm impressed with what Mike London's done at Virginia since he's been there. This team consistently surprised me last year. They were consistently better than what I thought they were going to be. I don't think they have enough offense. Even though Louisiana Tech doesn't have a great defense themselves, I do not think Virginia has enough offense to keep up with Louisiana Tech, even though the Cavaliers are going to be at home. I'm on Louisiana Tech in this game. And another game that I just want to mention, and now BETDAQ doesn't have a market on this game as of yet, but I want to throw it out there because BETDAQ may put a market up there, and I do like this game. I like NC State on the road, 2-point underdogs against Miami. This is another ACC game. Now, NC State, of course, struggled in their season opening game against Tennessee. Struggled the next week against UConn. They ended up winning the UConn game. Lost, of course, Tennessee, but only beat UConn. I believe the score was 10-7 or something like that in that game. Did not play well. They've been able to feast on a couple of lesser talented teams here in the last couple of weeks. I do think they've gotten it together. I like NC State, particularly on offense. I think Miami is overrated still. I know a lot of people don't expect much from this Miami team now after what we saw against Kansas State a couple of weeks ago, but don't believe Miami should be the favorite in this game. I know Miami won a thrilling game against Georgia Tech last week that surprised me, surprised a lot of people, but I do like NC State to beat Miami. +2 is the number I got on that game. Again, that game's not offered right now on BETDAQ, but these other games are. Many more games being offered on BETDAQ. Another exciting college football Saturday. Week 5 already. Can you believe it? Time to make money while we can make it because there's only a few more weeks left.